Yes.
I'm gonna start my speech. Uh, sorry, I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Both OO and CO wants to reduce the number of smokers and improve the health quality. If we can prove to you that the health quality exacerbates in their side, we believe that we win. I'm going to talk about two things. Firstly, why does it violate the principle of taxation thus harms the vulnerable people? But let's characterize, right? How does this tax look like? It will not be like opening opposition's paradigm, that is the company will be very benevolently pays for it, but rather it will be added to the cost of the tobacco in itself, right? But we believe that this violates the principle of taxation, that is redistribution, right? Why redistribution matters? Because the reason why we violate the consent of individuals of their private ownership and taking them away and give and in a form of taxation, because we want to solve the inequality that exists between the rich people and poor people in and of itself. This is why we have PPNBM that taxes the luxury goods like LV, Lamborghini, and so on and so forth. Therefore, high taxation of goods is only principally justifiable when it fulfills the redistribution principle, and we believe that it is not fulfilled in tobacco. Why? How does it look like? Because smoking has been ingrained inside the people's perception. It has been a culture, for example. That is to say that if you are smoking, you are cool enough. This is the masculinity that exists in status quo. Or if you are smoking, you become more productive, or it is a form of solidarity and friendship between the Kuli Jawa, for example. But secondly, it is also the only source of happiness for the blue collar working class in Indonesia. Notice that and also notice that people are already addicted to it anyway. People already addicted to it anyway, and it targets mainly working class, meaning that okay, notice in status quo, the price is already high, the taxation is already high, and people still smoking because of those structural reasons proves to you that opposition's benefit to reduce the number of smokers miserably fail, right? Miserably fail and cannot be the tipping point of this debate, but B, you are capitalizing out of the most vulnerable people who needs tobacco the most. But okay, let's assume that limitation can work. Let's assume at the best case, even if we believe it does not. We believe that limitation is not the government's interest because of four reasons. First and most basic is these people are already consented towards the harm of smoking, right? The fact that in the label you already put the harms of tobacco, but you still weigh it against your capacity of working and being productive, for example, means that these people are already consented enough. But secondly, sure that Ministry of Health do the campaign and so on and so forth, but we believe that it is wishy-washy, right? This makes me lead to the third layer of analysis, the fact that the government still allows the sale of tobacco, unlike drugs that is completely banned. The fact that the advertisement on billboard or on public television is actually being allowed by the government, or the fact that it's able to sponsor the sporting event in Indonesia, proves to you that the government has literally near zero incentive to limit smoking in and of itself, right? And fourthly, culture. We proved to you, we told you that government decision are constructed with the people's interest in mind, right? Notice that the people, 70% of people, like the opening opposition can say, people are really like smoking. Therefore, there is no political leverage for you to limit smoking in and of itself. These four reasons prove that even if you successfully limit the number of smoking, this is not the interest of government, but this is not the interest of the people as well. What does this prove to you? It proves to you that A, limitation has already failing, and B, it is not the interest of the state. Okay, panel, knowing my analysis in the beginning that people will smoke anyway in both sides, and notice in status quo, the sale of tobacco is still rising irrespective of the high price. Why this is dangerous? This dangers on two things. Firstly, on principle level, you burden the responsibility to redistribute towards the poor and vulnerable people, right? This is immoral in a perspective of a state because because they are supposedly the subject of distribution and welfare and not a subject of redistribution. The parallel example is this. Even if people will still buy rice anyway because they are addicted and rice causes diabetes, it is unjustified for you to tax rice. Why? Because there is already a high contingency of rice among the society for example, and because you are going to target the redistribution towards the poor people, therefore it is principally unjustifiable to do so. But secondly, on the practical level, you reduce the disposable income towards these people. Notice that people will buy tobacco no matter what price. Therefore, they will sacrifice their financial capacity to buy tobacco, right? Therefore, if these people are sick, these people do not have any more money because they already spent it in the expensive tobacco in itself, right? But B, you reduce the capacity to expand the economy because these people are unable to socially mobilize because no disposable income. Therefore, for all these reasons, we prove to you that these people will smoke anyway. It harms the most vulnerable people. But secondly, how do you harm the vulnerable tobacco farmers? Right? No, the opposition's response to this is saying that there is a government policy, right? Let's characterize. Companies are targeting the lower class people to sell tobacco, such as Kuli Jawa. Therefore, it's within the interest of the company to take the price as low as possible. Therefore, to compensate the high tax, they will lower the price from the supplier, for example. And notice the companies are monopolistic. They have the leverage, that they have the contract is consensual. Therefore, you cannot solve it with government policy, right? But what we do is we give the incentive for the company to not giving a ridiculous pricing. Therefore, the farmers and labor will be better off in our side of the house on the macro level. And we believe for all those reasons, we are very proud to